Most people think they know what's scary in Elder Scrolls. Draugr, vampires, Daedric princes. But the creepiest stuff isn't in the quests, it's buried in cut dialogue, haunted mods, strange NPC behavior, and theories that make the whole world feel wrong. Players talk about stars that move on their own, voices whispering from nowhere, and gods that might actually be lying. There's a theory that a Morrowind mod drove people mad. Another says the Thalmor are trying to erase reality itself. And someone, somewhere in Oblivion, keeps whispering, "It's coming for you." These are the creepiest Elder Scrolls theories fans have ever uncovered. And let's start with a theory about a haunted Morrowind mod. There's an old mod for Morrowind called JVK1166ESP, and people still talk about it like it's something you shouldn't mess with. Not because it's broken or full of bugs, but because the stories around it feel too strange to ignore. Nobody knows who made it. It just appeared one day on a forum, uploaded without notes or a readme, and when players tried to use it, things got weird fast. At first, it just crashed the game. Not every time, just often enough to make people give up on it. But the ones who got it working noticed that things had changed in ways they couldn't explain. NPCs that used to go to sleep at night now wandered the streets in silence. They didn't talk, they didn't react. They just stood outside and stared at the sky, every single one of them, every night, as if they were waiting for something. That's where the phrase comes from, "watch the sky." It started appearing in places it shouldn't, carved into books, whispered in dialogue, and eventually spoken by a figure that players began calling the assassin. He crawled, not walked, moved like something broken, and would show up at strange times, following the player, watching from rooftops or corners. He didn't speak at first, then he did. Watch the sky. He was dressed like someone from the Dark Brotherhood, but the game doesn't give him a faction or a name. Some players swore he teleported. Others thought he was just coded to stalk the player. Nobody ever found the file that added him. He wasn't listed in the mod's data. That's what made people nervous. The deeper you went, the stranger the mod became. Some players found that the stars in the night sky weren't just background art anymore. They moved. Not like real stars slowly drifting. These shifted in patterns, sometimes forming words, sometimes shapes that didn't make sense. One person claimed they took a screenshot of the sky and it looked like an eye. Others said that if you stared long enough, it looked like the stars were watching you back. Then there were the portraits. Players who used the mod said some in-game paintings started to resemble photos from their own files. Not every time, but often enough that it became a pattern. One person claimed a painting inside a manor had their exact face in it. Another said they saw a blurry version of their desktop background hanging in the Balmora Council Club. Nobody ever found how the mod could access those files. Some people said it was a hoax. Others tried to prove it by recording footage, but their games always crashed when they got close. Some reported that their save files got corrupted after seeing the assassin too many times. A few said the mod made their computer slow down even outside of the game. One user said their keyboard stopped working until they unplugged it and restarted. Most people stopped using it after that. The mod disappeared for a while, pulled from most sites, and only reappeared through re-uploads on forums. People kept trying to dig through the files, looking for the source of the changes. They found things that didn't make sense. Scripts with no triggers. Items with no placement data. A dungeon entrance that doesn't lead anywhere. A locked door in Vivec that had no key and no interior link to it. Some thought it was an ARG. Others thought it was a virus. But nobody could explain why the NPCs acted like that, or why the sky kept changing, or why the assassin showed up in different locations for different players, almost like he was adapting. One person left a post saying they left their game running overnight and woke up to find the character dead, lying in front of Caius Casade's house with nothing in their inventory. The game log said he watched. Then it stopped loading entirely. There was never a real explanation, no updates, no creator stepping forward to clear things up. Just more people downloading it, trying to test it, and stopping once the crashes got worse or the save files wouldn't load. Over time, the mod picked up a reputation, not just as a broken file, but as something cursed, something players shouldn't open unless they were ready to see things they couldn't explain. People began calling it haunted, not because it did anything loud or dramatic, but because of how quiet it all was. The game just felt wrong. Familiar places were off. Music didn't play the way it should. Sound files were missing. Doors that used to open no longer did. A few players said they heard a voice in the background when standing still in empty areas, but only when using the mod. Some thought it said their name. One claimed they uninstalled the mod and their regular game started acting strange, as if the changes had stuck around even without the file. There's no solid proof for any of it. Just old forum posts, fragments of corrupted files, and a bunch of secondhand stories from people who say they played it once and never again. But the weird part is how many of those stories say the same things. The NPCs looking at the sky, the crawling man, the whispers, the portraits, the moving stars, and always the same line, somewhere in the background, spoken in a voice that doesn't match any character in the game. Watch the sky. Nobody knows what it means. Maybe it was just a broken experiment by someone who wanted to mess with the community. Maybe it's just a creepypasta that got out of hand. But if you've ever modded Morrowind and seen something strange in the sky, you probably understand why people still remember this strange mod. Next is a hidden dialogue in Oblivion. There's a line of dialogue hidden in Oblivion that a lot of players never hear, but the ones who do always remember it. It's coming for you. That's all it says. No context, no follow-up, just a quiet message that shows up when it shouldn't. Most people first heard about it during the Fighters Guild questline. Somewhere between the missions, a few players noticed something strange. NPCs who were supposed to be dead started showing up again. Not alive, not as zombies, just there, standing around in places they had no reason to be. Some of them were important characters who had already died in scripted events. Others were just random people the player had killed. They wouldn't say much, some wouldn't speak at all, but every now and then, one of them would say it. It's coming for you. The line wasn't listed in any dialogue trees. You couldn't get them to repeat it, and they'd vanish just as suddenly as they appeared. Not in a puff of smoke or anything dramatic. They'd just stop being there the next time you passed through. People started sharing screenshots of these encounters, usually with the NPC standing far away in the fog or across the street, staring at the player but not moving. Some were seen outside city gates. Some just stood in the middle of towns with no expression. One post showed a dead bandit the player remembered killing in a cave outside Bruma, now standing inside Coral's chapel. No armor, no dialogue. Just standing still. The player walked up, tried to talk, and the only thing the NPC said was, "It's coming for you." Then nothing. They left, came back, and he was gone. A few people thought it was just a glitch. Oblivion has its share of strange behavior. AI getting stuck, scripts failing, dead characters popping back into the world. But the thing is, this wasn't just one person. It happened in different saves, on different systems, and usually during the same stretch of the Fighters Guild questline. The mission where you start getting closer to uncovering the Blackwood Company. Some people said the weird NPCs only showed up once they started investigating the history. Others said it started even earlier, during the missions where you begin noticing the guild changing. The people who talked about it often said the same thing. It felt like something was watching their game. Not just bugs or strange pathing, but events that seemed to respond to them. One user said that the message appeared right after they fast traveled to Leyawiin. They hadn't saved in a while, and when they arrived, an old character they'd killed in a Dark Brotherhood side quest was standing just outside the city wall. They couldn't interact. The moment they got close, the character turned around, walked into the woods, and disappeared. Later that night, in a different town, another NPC said it. Same line, same flat voice. "It's coming for you." Someone else claimed it happened during the night. They were walking through the Imperial City's market district, and all the shops were closed. There was no one on the street, except for one woman standing at the edge of the bridge. She had no name, just bigger. They approached her, and instead of the usual greeting, she looked at them and whispered the line. Then she walked off the bridge and fell into the water. The game didn't register her as dead, she was just gone. The same user tried to reload the save and check again, but the character never appeared after that. People who dug into the game's files found a few unused voice lines, marked with numbers instead of names. Some had normal phrases, some had placeholder text, but one of them, only one, was the exact line. "It's coming for you." No name attached, no quest ID, just a file. The voice didn't match any known actor. It was flat and emotionless, like it had been filtered or compressed. Some thought it might have been a developer joke or a scrapped quest. Others weren't so sure. A few players who got the message said it happened after they'd been playing for too long. One guy said it only happened when he played past midnight. Another said his game clock froze after the message appeared. It kept reading 3:33 a.m. in-game, no matter how long he waited or where he went. The time fixed itself after he reloaded, but the message was never triggered again. A post from years ago claimed that after hearing the line, the player's journal updated with no new entry, just a blank space where a quest should be. When they opened their inventory, the gold amount had changed to a negative number. After that, enemies stopped attacking them. The game still worked. They could explore, open chests, and talk to people, but the world felt different. Everyone avoided eye contact. Creatures just stared. Even guards ignored them. The player eventually deleted the save. They said it felt like the game had already ended but hadn't told them yet. It's possible all of this is just coincidence. Maybe the line was left over from an unfinished quest. Maybe the NPC spawns are glitches tied to save corruption. But none of that explains why it always happens the same way, why it's always during the Fighters Guild arc, why the line never repeats, why it always comes from someone who shouldn't be there. The modding community tried to recreate it. A few people even built mods that added similar effects, hoping to figure out the trigger. But no one ever found a script that matched. Some even checked older builds of the game, but the line still appeared in places where it shouldn't. Eventually, most people gave up trying to figure it out. But the story stuck around. Every so often, someone posts about it again. A screenshot of a distant figure in the fog. A log file that doesn't match the quest. A character who shouldn't be there, standing in the wrong city, saying the same words. It's coming for you. Not a threat, not a warning, just a message. And the strangest part is how many people say they remember hearing it too, even if they can't find proof. Like the game wanted you to hear it once and then never again. Next is a theory towns that secretly worship the Daedra. There's a theory in Skyrim that some towns aren't what they seem. On the surface, they're quiet, ordinary places, just another stop on your way through the cold wilds of the north. But if you watch closely and pay attention to the details that most people ignore, something strange starts to show up. It starts with the NPCs who vanish. Not ones killed in dragon attacks or bandit raids, just regular townsfolk who are suddenly gone. No death notification, no body, no goodbye. You visit a town, talk to someone, leave, and when you come back, they're not there. Ask the other NPCs, and they act like that person never existed. You check the inn, their house, even their daily walking paths. Nothing. Sometimes their homes are locked, even when they weren't before. Inside, it looks like no one lived there at all. Or worse, like someone left in a hurry. Chairs knocked over, food on the table, a fire still burning. Some players started noticing this more in certain towns, like Falkreath or Dawnstar. Both of them already have some strange quests, but people began to wonder if there was more going on underneath. In Falkreath, there's the Namira quest tied to the cannibal cult in the Hall of the Dead. But that's not the only weird thing in town. Some players said they heard faint chanting late at night, coming from the direction of the graveyard. If you tried to get closer, it would stop. Others said they saw figures standing near the edge of the woods, just past the guard towers. They didn't move. They weren't enemies. they were just there. You'd blink and they'd be gone. In Dawnstar, things feel off from the start. Everyone talks about the nightmares. That's part of the Daedric quest for Varmina, but even after that quest is done and the nightmares are supposed to be over, some players say it never really goes away. One post mentioned how the innkeeper kept saying lines about strange visitors even when the town was supposed to be at peace. Another said that when they entered one of the homes, they heard whispering behind the walls. No source, no ambient noise, just low rhythmic chanting like a ritual was happening somewhere nearby. They checked all the houses, the mines, even the lighthouse. Nothing. But the sound came back a few days later. One of the creepiest parts of this theory is how it connects to the Daedra themselves. We know from the game that Daedric cults exist all over Skyrim. The quests for Mehrunes, Dagon, Boethia, and Molag all involve people who live in the province and worship the Daedra in secret. These aren't just outcasts or madmen. Some of them are trusted town members, priests, or nobles. So what if entire towns had their own private worship? Not out in the open, but deep underground or behind locked doors. The theory suggests that small groups of worshippers operate in places the player can't easily access. They meet at night after the player has left the town or gone to sleep. The game doesn't show it directly, but leaves clues. One player said that after visiting Morthal and completing the vampire quest, they stayed in town to see what the citizens would do. On a certain night, every NPC left their homes at once and walked to the edge of the swamp. They stood in a rough circle, did nothing for several minutes, and then returned to their homes without speaking. No quest was active. The game didn't acknowledge it, but it happened again the following week. Others reported similar patterns in Winterhold, where people would gather near the ruined bridge at odd hours and just stare into the water. It didn't always happen. The theory is that it's tied to in-game moon phases or other hidden triggers. Some players tried using mods to track NPC paths and found they would sometimes vanish off the map for short periods. Not fast travel, actual disappearance. They would leave the visible game world and come back minutes later in a different spot. This led to speculation that secret Daedric shrines or meeting places exist off the main map or in hidden cells, only used during specific events. There's one report of a player who followed an NPC through the woods outside Riften just before midnight. The NPC walked deep into the trees, far from any roads, and then suddenly vanished. The player looked around and saw a campfire in the distance. They approached and found a stone altar with candles and strange symbols. No one was there, but the fire was lit. When they came back the next day, the altar was gone. The camp was just trees and rocks. A few people even believed that some of the town layouts were designed to mimic Daedric symbols. They pointed out that Falkreath's roads form a rough O with a line through it similar to the sigil of Namira. Others said that the placement of shrines, taverns, and jails in certain towns follow patterns linked to Daedric artifacts. Most of this is just speculation, but the missing NPCs are real. The strange behavior is real. The unmarked gatherings, the off-screen voices, the lights seen from mountaintops, none of it is officially explained. The game never confirms it. But it doesn't deny it either. That's what makes it feel possible. Skyrim is a game full of hidden layers. It's not hard to imagine that some of the people you meet are part of something older and darker than what the quests show you. They smile, they trade, they ask you to kill bandits. But when you leave town, when the sun goes down and the game gets quiet, they go somewhere else, somewhere the player isn't meant to follow. And maybe, if you stay just long enough in the right place, you'll hear them, not speaking to you, but speaking to something else, something below the surface, waiting. Next theory is about Aedra and Daedra. This theory is buried in the deeper layers of the old iceberg charts that list the game's weirdest secrets. It's not about bugs or haunted mods or secret NPC paths. It's about the gods themselves. It suggests that the Aedra, the ones the people of Tamriel pray to and build temples for, aren't what they say they are. The idea is simple but unsettling. What if the Aedra and the Daedra aren't really that different? What if the only thing that separates them is how they're worshipped? And worse, What if the Aedra are actually Daedra, who won a popularity contest a long time ago, and now everyone's forgotten what they really were? This theory messes with the entire way people in the games understand the divine. Most players know the basics. The Aedra are the gods who sacrifice part of themselves to create Mundus, the mortal world. That act weakened them. They can't walk the earth the way the Daedra can. The Daedra, by contrast, didn't help build Mundus. They stayed out of it and kept their power. That's why they're still around, doing strange and often cruel things. People fear them, but they also respect them. You can speak to them, strike deals with them, even fight them. But the Aedra are distant. Their temples are quiet, their blessings are subtle. You never really meet them face to face. The theory starts by asking why that is. Why are the gods who are supposed to be benevolent and good so silent, while the ones known for madness and chaos are loud and present? Some fans think it's just a game mechanic. Others think it means something else. One part of the theory comes from the way the Aedra are treated in different cultures. In imperial religion, the 8 or 9, depending on when, are seen as true gods. But go to Morrowind, and the Tribunal used to be gods. In Skyrim, Talos became a god. The Khajiit worship the moons, and sometimes see different Daedra as divine. The Bosmer worship Y'ffre and the Green. Everyone has their own set of beliefs, and sometimes those beliefs overlap with what other people would call heresy. For example, some Daedric princes are worshipped openly in certain places. Azura, for instance, is seen as a kind and guiding figure by the Dunmer. She warned them of the Red Mountain and helped them survive the fall of the Khmer. Yet, she's still technically a Daedra. She didn't help build Mundus. She wasn't weakened by the act of creation, but she's loved and honored just the same. So then what really separates her from an Aedra like Mara or Dibella? Is it history? Is it perception? Or is it something people were told and just believed? The theory deepens when you look at the names. Some scholars in-game have noticed how the names of certain gods and Daedra sound similar, or how their domains overlap. Julianos, god of wisdom and logic, shares traits with Hermaeus Mora, the keeper of knowledge. Arkai, god of life and death, mirrors aspects of Molag Bal and Namira, who both touch death in their own ways. Zenitar, god of work and commerce, echoes the industrious traits seen in Clevicus File, who makes deals and grants power. The lines start to blur. If you strip away the morality, the good versus evil, and just look at what each god does, some of them start to look more and more alike. Then there's the creation myth. The story of Lorkhan, convincing the other gods to help make the mortal world. He's often portrayed as a trickster, a liar, or even a villain. The Aedra blame him for their suffering. But some cultures see him as a hero who made life possible. The Dunmer revere him as the ancestor spirit. The Khajiit have him as a trickster who brought them to life. The Nords call him Shor and speak of him like a lost king. His role changes depending on who tells the story, and the theory asks, what if all the gods are like that? What if the truth was buried, rewritten, passed down by those who benefited from the version that made them look divine? There's an obscure book in the games called The Monomyth, which outlines how different cultures see the gods. It quietly supports the idea that everyone's god is someone else's demon. The Aedra and Daedra might just be two sides of the same thing, eternal spirits, shaped by worship, bound by perception. The Aedra, then, could be Daedra, who gave up power to create a world, and then let themselves be remembered as martyrs and saviors. Or maybe they didn't give anything up at all. Maybe they let people think that to control them better. The Daedra are feared because they act openly. They show their faces and demand things in return. But what if the Aedra do the same thing, just more quietly? What if their silence isn't weakness, but distance? What if they're watching, not from love, but from detachment? There's a passage in a lore book that says the difference between gods and Daedra is that the Daedra don't care about mortals, but the Aedra can't help them anymore. The theory flips that. Maybe the Aedra don't help, because they never intended to. Maybe they created the world as a trap, a cage for mortal souls, and then left. Or maybe they're still here, hidden in the faith of the people, taking power from prayers and offerings, just like the Daedra do. The Nine Divines could just be a pantheon polished up by the Empire, a propaganda tool to unite people under a single set of names, hiding the truth behind polished statues and sacred hymns. When you pray to Mara, are you really speaking to a goddess of love? Or are you feeding something much older, something that changed its name to fit your expectations? The theory never gives a final answer. That's part of what makes it so unsettling. There are no cutscenes, no quests that confirm or deny it. Just strange patterns, scattered lines in dusty books, and the feeling that the gods in Elder Scrolls are whatever people need them to be. Which means they could be anything. The next theory is about bug jars being alive. Skyrim has a lot of little details that don't get noticed the first time you play through, but some of the smallest things have the weirdest stories behind them. One of these is something that looks innocent enough: the bug jars in Arcadia's Cauldron, a shop in Whiterun. At first glance, these jars seem like simple decorations. They hold little bugs, glowing and frozen in place, and you might just think they're for fun, or a way to add color to the shop. But some fans think there's more going on here. The theory is that these bug jars aren't just decorations or simple containers, they could actually be preserving real creatures or even spirits trapped inside. This idea comes from looking at how these jars are made and how they relate to Dwemer technology. The Dwemer are known for their mastery of engineering and magic, and they made all sorts of strange devices that can trap and hold powerful things. There are Dwemer spheres, constructs that patrol ruins, and there are the mysterious soul gems they used to trap spirits. The bug jars look like a smaller, simpler version of those containment devices. The glass jars are sealed tight, with strange metal bands around them that look like they're holding the contents in place. Inside the jars, the bugs glow faintly, like they're still alive or charged with magic. Some players have noticed that the bugs inside the jars don't move, but their glowing suggests some kind of power or energy remains trapped. This has led to the idea that these jars might be more than just a collection of insects. They could be holding Daedra spirits or magical creatures that Arcadia has captured and contained for study or sale. This fits with what we know about Skyrim's world, where magic and danger often hide just beneath the surface. It would explain why the jars glow and why the bugs seem frozen in time. The theory gets creepier when you think about what it means to have spirits or creatures trapped in jars. These could be souls or magical beings that want to be free but can't escape. Maybe they whisper at night or try to reach out to anyone who comes close. Some players have even reported strange noises or feelings when near the shop, as if something unseen is watching. If the jars really are traps, it means Arcadia's shop isn't just a place to buy potions and supplies. It could be a kind of prison or a vault for magical creatures. This also ties into the idea that the Dwemer were experts at capturing and controlling forces that others feared. Maybe Arcadia's jars are a tiny remnant of that lost knowledge, passed down or rediscovered. The bug jars being alive changes the way you see the shop and the world around you. It makes you wonder what else in Skyrim might be hiding secrets, waiting quietly for someone to notice. The jars are small and easy to overlook, but they might hold some of the darkest magic in the game, locked away and glowing softly on a shelf. This theory never got official confirmation, but it has stuck around because it fits the tone of Skyrim's hidden magic and the uneasy feeling that even the most ordinary places might have something strange inside. It shows how even a simple detail can add layers to the world, making it richer and more mysterious than it seems on the surface. The bug jars are a reminder that in Skyrim, nothing is truly what it looks like. Next theory is pretty well known, but I think it is still worth mentioning, and it is about the Dwemer. The Dwemer are one of the biggest mysteries in Tamriel's history. Known for their advanced technology and underground cities filled with machines, they suddenly vanished during the Battle of Red Mountain, leaving behind only ruins and strange devices. But there's a fan theory that the Dwemer didn't die or get wiped out. Instead, they might have transcended the physical world, moving on to another plane of existence. The idea is that the Dwemer found a way to leave their bodies behind and become something beyond mortal flesh. This explains why no one has ever found a single Dwemer body or corpse in their underground cities or on the battlefield. Instead, what remains are their massive mechanical creations, like the steam-powered constructs and automatons that still patrol the ruins. These machines seem to run on their own, as if powered by something more than simple gears and springs. Fans think the Dwemer might have merged their souls or consciousness into their machines, turning themselves into pure energy or spirit that lives beyond the physical world. Some even say the Dwemer ghosts seen in certain places are echoes of this transition, evidence that their minds or souls still exist but can't fully interact with the living. This theory is supported by the events surrounding the heart of Lorkhan. Kagrenak, the Dwemer leader and master craftsman, used powerful tools to strike the heart during the Battle of Red Mountain, attempting to harness its divine energy. Some believe that this act caused the entire race to vanish in an instant, but not by death. Instead, the heart might have lifted them out of normal reality into a different state of being. It's like they ascended, passing from the mortal plane into a form beyond human understanding. The Dwemer's obsession with understanding and controlling existence fits well with this theory. They didn't just disappear by accident. They intended to reach a new state of life, beyond flesh and bone. Their machines are the shells left behind, reminders of what they once were, but no longer are. Exploring a Dwemer ruin isn't just walking through an abandoned city. It's entering the remains of a vanished race that continues to exist somewhere else. The machines still working are like echoes of their creators, their minds or spirits possibly powering the automatons long after their bodies left. This theory also explains the strange way time seems to affect Dwemer ruins. Some places feel almost frozen, untouched by decay, as if the Dwemer presence lingers still. The feeling of something watching from the shadows comes from the idea that the Dwemer still observe the world, just from another plane. The theory avoids the common question of what happened to the Dwemer by saying they didn't die at all. Instead, they transformed into something else, leaving their old forms behind like empty shells. It gives their disappearance a new meaning and turns their ruins into a kind of doorway or monument to their new existence. This makes the Dwemer story one of the most haunting in Tamriel. They are not gone because they failed or were destroyed, but because they moved on to something beyond mortal life. Whether true or not, this theory fits the details found in the games without needing extra explanation. It uses facts like the lack of bodies, the presence of active machines, and the power of the Heart of Lorkhan to tell a new version of the Dwemer story. It suggests that the metal and magic left behind are just a shadow of what the Dwemer really became. The theory leaves a lingering mystery in every Dwemer ruin, a sense that the creators are still there in some form, watching or waiting. Their story is one of transcendence, a reminder that even in death, the Dwemer never truly left the world of the living. This theory adds depth to every journey into a Dwemer city. The rusted gears and silent halls aren't just broken machines, but the remains of a civilization that might still exist on a plane beyond our understanding. It changes the ruins from empty places to sacred spaces where something extraordinary happened. The Dwemer didn't die, they became something else entirely. Next theory is about how the Dragonborn are demigods. The Dragonborn are the heroes of Skyrim, gifted with the power to absorb dragon souls and unleash powerful shouts that shape the fate of Tamriel. But beneath this hero's journey lies a deeper, darker theory about what the Dragonborn truly are. Some fans believe the Dragonborn are not merely mortal champions, but demigods or extensions of AKA, the dragon god of time, tied to the fabric of existence itself. AKA, also called Akatosh, is a central figure in the pantheon, representing time, beginnings, and the endless flow of history. The Dragonborn's unique ability to absorb dragon souls links them directly to Akka's power. This theory suggests the Dragonborn carry a fragment of Akka's divine essence within them, making them part mortal and part divine, walking the line between man and god. But their story is not one of pure heroism. Instead, the Dragonborn may be caught in the schemes of powerful forces like Talos and Alduin. Talos, once a mortal man who ascended to godhood, rules over war and time and is a patron to many of Skyrim's heroes. Alduin, the World Eater, is destined to devour the world and bring about its end. Some fans think these two beings manipulate the Dragonborn, using them as pawns in a cosmic struggle between creation and destruction. The Dragonborn's actions and choices could be guided by these divine forces, making them less a free agent and more a tool shaped by fate. This idea fits with how the Dragonborn always appears at critical moments in history, fighting dragons and threats that could change the world's future. It's as if the Dragonborn is destined to rise again and again, a repeating figure in an endless cycle controlled by higher powers. The Dragonborn's power comes from dragon souls, which are fragments of the dragon's divine energy. Dragons themselves are tied to AKA and the forces that shape time and existence. By absorbing these souls, the Dragonborn gains part of that divine force, reinforcing the idea that they are connected to godlike powers. Their shouts are ancient magic, passed down through time, further linking the Dragonborn to the great cosmic cycles, yet this power may come at a cost. Being tied to divine schemes could mean the Dragonborn's will is not entirely their own. They may be pushed towards certain goals or events to serve a larger purpose. This complicates the traditional hero's tale, suggesting the Dragonborn might be acting out a role written by gods rather than forging their own path. This adds a layer of mystery to the Dragonborn's identity and mission. Are they truly the savior of Skyrim or just a piece in a divine chess game? The theory also aligns with the idea of time loops and cycles in the Elder Scrolls universe. The Dragonborn's existence might not be unique, but part of a repeating pattern where different Dragonborn rise in different ages to face similar threats. This would explain why the Dragonborn's power feels so ancient and tied to the past, present, and future at once. It also fits with the nature of the Elder Scrolls themselves, which show visions of possible futures and alternate timelines. The Dragonborn's fate could be one thread among many, woven into the complex tapestry of time. This theory does not contradict what the games show, but adds a new dimension to the Dragonborn's story. It makes their role bigger and more complex, tied to the gods and the cycles of history. It leaves open questions about free will, destiny, and what it means to be a hero in a world ruled by divine forces. The Dragonborn may have the power to shape the world, but their origins and fate might be shaped by powers beyond mortal understanding. This makes every shout and every battle against dragons feel heavier, as if the Dragonborn carries not just the weight of the world but the will of the gods themselves. It turns the Dragonborn from a simple hero into a figure caught between divinity and mortality, a living bridge between humans and gods. It's a story of power and mystery, fitting with Skyrim's themes of fate and identity without adding anything extra. The Dragonborn are more than champions. They might be demigods, or worse, tools of forces beyond their control. This theory gives the Dragonborn's journey a haunting edge, making their story one of the most compelling mysteries in Tamriel. It leaves players wondering what the true nature of their power is, and what role they play in the endless cycle of time and fate that shapes the world. Next theory is about the multiverse link between Fallout and Tamriel. There's a long-standing fan theory that Elder Scrolls and Fallout don't just share a publisher, but might be connected through a multiverse or parallel universes controlled by the same cosmic forces. The idea is that these two game worlds exist either side by side or in sequence, with one leading into the other in a grand cosmic design. Elder Scrolls is known for its mysterious Elder Scrolls themselves, which hold knowledge across time and space, showing past, present, and future in visions that few can fully understand. Fans speculate these scrolls could be a kind of omniscient record not just for Tamriel, but for multiple realities. The theory suggests that the same beings who shape destiny in Elder Scrolls, like the Daedra or the Aedra, also influence the Fallout universe. This implies a shared cosmic authority behind the scenes. In both worlds, there are forces beyond mortal understanding that manipulate fate, steer history, and shape the environment in ways humans only glimpse briefly. For example, the Daedra are powerful entities in Elder Scrolls, often involved in strange pacts and dark deals, while Fallout has its own mysterious groups and cryptic powers. Some fans think these could be different faces of the same cosmic players operating in both universes. The idea gets creepier when you consider how both worlds feature cycles of creation, destruction, and rebirth, even if those cycles look very different. Tamriel is a high fantasy world with gods, magic, and dragons, while Fallout is a post-apocalyptic wasteland shaped by nuclear war and survival. Yet both show worlds where humanity struggles against overwhelming forces and tries to carve out meaning in chaos. There are also small nods and Easter eggs in both games that hint at this connection, like the vaults in Fallout resembling ancient underground ruins found in Elder Scrolls, or the mysterious technology in both settings that seems almost magical. These parallels suggest a link deeper than just shared storytelling. Fans have pieced together hints from lore, game design, and even development history to build a picture of this multiverse connection. The Elder Scrolls could represent an earlier age or dimension where magic and gods dominate, while Fallout shows a later time or alternate reality where technology and decay take over. The Elder Scrolls' concept of time as fluid and cyclical fits with this too, since reality might fold back on itself and these worlds could be iterations of the same cosmic cycle. The theory doesn't claim this is official, but it invites players to imagine Tamriel and the Fallout Wasteland as chapters in a vast cosmic story, controlled by immortal beings who watch from beyond. This casts both games in a new light, as different faces of the same grand universe, linked by fate and the unseen will of powerful entities. It's a haunting idea that the mysteries and struggles in both worlds aren't isolated but parts of a larger cosmic puzzle. Whether it's Daedric princes or other cosmic powers, the forces pulling the strings could be the same, shaping all realities with strange, unknowable goals. This adds a level of depth and eeriness to both games, making every quest and battle feel like a piece of a universal pattern. It also shows how the Elder Scrolls lore, with its focus on time, destiny, and cycles, can expand beyond just one world, connecting to a bigger multiverse that includes Fallout. For fans who love to dive into lore, this theory opens doors to imagining new possibilities and hidden meanings. The link between Elder Scrolls and Fallout multiverses hints at a shared cosmic design behind seemingly separate worlds, making the games richer and more mysterious at the same time. The next theory is about the Thalmor's cosmic purge. The Thalmor are known as the powerful rulers of the Aldmeri Dominion, the High Elves who have risen to control much of Tamriel. They present themselves as guardians of elven culture and the natural order, but beneath this surface hides a darker, more disturbing ambition. According to this theory, the Thalmor are not just seeking political dominance or to restore elven glory. Instead, they are engaged in a secret plan to unravel reality itself by targeting the world pillars, the fundamental supports that hold the fabric of existence in place. The world pillars are ancient cosmic structures described in Elder Scrolls lore as the pillars that keep the world stable, preventing it from collapsing into chaos. They are tied to the very nature of reality and time. The Thalmor's goal is to erase these pillars, causing reality to break down, which would allow them to remake the world in their own image or ascend to godlike status. This theory is unsettling because it paints the Thalmor not just as political villains, but as cosmic threats with a terrifying agenda that players only glimpse hints of. Throughout the games, especially in Skyrim, the Thalmor are shown capturing important artifacts, interfering with magical forces, and hunting down Talos worshippers. This behavior could be steps in their larger plan to weaken reality's foundations. The theory suggests that the Thalmor's public actions, like outlawing Talos worship, are distractions designed to hide their true goal. While the world focuses on political struggles and religious conflict, the Thalmor work behind the scenes on their cosmic purge. Some clues come from the Thalmor's obsession with magic, ancient knowledge, and controlling powerful beings. They use their agents to manipulate events and remove obstacles, suggesting a careful, long-term plan. The destruction of the world pillars would cause the world to lose its stability, unraveling time and space itself. This would mean the end of the current reality as known to mortals, plunging Tamriel into chaos, or a void where only the Thalmor's new order could survive. This idea fits with their cold and ruthless nature and explains why they act so aggressively against anything linked to Talos and human resistance. In the lore, the Thalmor speak of restoring true elven dominance and purging the world of corruption. This cosmic purge theory adds a chilling meaning to these words. They don't just want control, they want to remake existence by destroying what holds it together. It also explains some of the mysterious disappearances and strange events tied to the Thalmor, like the destruction of ancient sites and the suppression of knowledge about the world's true nature. Some players notice subtle hints in quests and dialogue, where the Thalmor talk cryptically about cleansing and changing the world, which takes on new meaning in this light. The theory suggests the Thalmor might be working with or trying to control powerful entities like the Daedra, or manipulating the powers behind the Elder Scrolls themselves to bring about this cosmic collapse. The risk is that if their plan succeeds, it could mean the end of everything familiar, with only the Thalmor's vision left standing in the ruins. This theory remains unconfirmed, but adds a deep layer of darkness to the Thalmor's role in the world. It casts them as not only political enemies, but as cosmic villains aiming for a cataclysm that would erase reality and remake it. This raises questions about how much of their plan players uncover through the game's story and whether resistance against them can prevent the destruction of the world itself. The idea of a cosmic purge also fits the Elder Scrolls' themes of cycles, change, and hidden forces shaping destiny, but here with a stark and terrifying twist. The Thalmor become figures whose ambition reaches beyond mortal concerns to threaten the very existence of the world. It turns their political tyranny into a threat on a universal scale, deepening the mystery behind their true motives and making them one of the creepiest forces in the lore. And lastly, we have the spooky DLC conspiracy. Skyrim's secret spooky DLC conspiracy is one of those rumors that keeps popping up among fans who dig deep into the game's files and unfinished content. The story goes that there was a hidden DLC or mod intended for Skyrim Special Edition that was never officially released. This supposed content promised new dungeons, darker storylines, and cult activities that would expand on the game's already eerie and mysterious atmosphere. Players first noticed odd dialogue lines scattered in the game's code that never appeared in normal gameplay. These lines mentioned secret cults, forbidden rituals, and places described in ways that didn't match any existing locations. Some files pointed to dungeons that didn't exist on the official map, with hints that they were tied to powerful artifacts or Daedric worship. The theory grew as fans discovered leftover assets and textures that looked too polished to be just scraps from development but had no in-game home. These included dark, shadowy environments, creepy NPC models, and notes that suggested hidden quests about ancient evils lurking beneath Skyrim's surface. Many players speculate that this content was either cut for being too intense or because of technical issues. Some believe it was a deliberate decision to keep the game's tone balanced for a wide audience. The rumors took a darker turn, with reports of players experiencing strange glitches and hearing unsettling sounds when they used console commands to access these hidden files. Some claimed that playing with the hidden content caused crashes or corrupted saves, adding to the idea that it was cursed or dangerous. The community started sharing stories of mysterious voices, whispers of unknown languages, and NPCs that behaved strangely after certain triggers, all thought to be linked to this secret content. Some fans even created mods inspired by these rumors, trying to bring the hidden dungeons and cults to life. These mods added to the mystery by blending with the official game in ways that felt eerie and real. The notion of a secret, unreleased expansion full of dark lore fits well with Skyrim's existing themes of hidden histories and shadowy powers. It makes players wonder what other secrets Bethesda might have left behind, and what stories we still haven't uncovered. While nothing official has confirmed this DLC's existence, the evidence in the game files and the experiences shared by the community keep the theory alive. It's a reminder of how much hidden content can lie beneath a game's surface, waiting for players to find and piece together. This conspiracy blends the thrill of discovery with the fear of what might be lurking in the dark corners of Skyrim's world. It's a perfect example of how fans create their own legends, fueled by fragments of truth and the game's mysterious atmosphere. Whether it's real or just a product of imagination, the idea of a spooky DLC lost to time adds another layer of mystery to Skyrim's rich lore. It shows how the game's world continues to inspire curiosity and unease long after players have finished their main quests. And that is it. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow.